if I could start a rumor about myself. Okay, if I could start a rumor about myself, is the rumor true or false? I don't know what I would say. I would say like that Cherie, did y'all hear that? But I didn't do that. Do I even care?
So I'm here today because you have been a movement and an inspiration, but I really want people to know where that came from, how that started. Who is Chere behind the woman that's telling the world to say something? So I want to start with you.
Okay.
And I want to start at the beginning.
Okay. So I grew up in Toledo, Ohio, a very small city right outside Detroit, about 30 minutes from Detroit Airport, in the projects. I spent a lot of my childhood living in the projects and very family oriented. We had a lot of family gatherings. Can I recall a pivotal moment that changed the course of my life? I can recall many of them. So I'll do this in order, right? So when I was 4.5, my little brother was killed in front of our house. He was hit by a car. He was 3 years old. And so I had another brother who was 7 at the time, and he went across the street to fight some kids, and my little brother went over there to help him. And so then my little brother saw that he was getting jumped by kids, so he decided, I'm going to go back home and get mom. So when he went to go back, he was trying to watch out for cars, and my older brother was on the ground, and he saw the car coming, and he was calling for him, but my little brother didn't hear him. So back in the 80s, cars were made of metal, so my little brother just dashed across the street in the car, hit him head on, and he died right there in the middle of the street. My mom was in the house. She was with his father, who was an abuser, so he was actually beating on her at this time. So when, of course, she came out and saw my brother was there, they went to the hospital, and he didn't make it, of course. He was only 3. So that was a moment the first moment, pivotal moment that changed my life, because my mother began to blame my oldest brother for the rest of his life. And so I saw my older brother go through a lot of abuse from my mother, and I saw my mother being abused. So from that moment itself, my mind, just the way I looked at life, changed a lot. So coming out of domestic violence, because I never saw myself going through it, but now today, I look back and I say, like, how did you let that happen? Like, how did you let somebody put their hands on you for 3 years? Like, and then you continue to go back to that person. Like, what was wrong with you? And I see that today. And it's like, that's why I am so bold. That's why I am blunt. That's why I'm not afraid to be wrong. I'm not afraid to say I'm sorry or apologize. Like, I walk in my whole truth. I own it, the good, bad, and the ugly. But I get that because I had to check myself a lot of times. It wasn't just the fact that I was getting abused. I was allowing it to happen. So what inside of me was saying that I deserved it or it was okay, and to hide it. And so it was like I didn't want people to know. But now it's like I am unapologetically me. And it's because I let somebody put their hands on me for 3 years for no reason at all. And I went through it, and I got through it, and I saw myself overcome so many things. Yes, as a single mother, I have a beautiful 25-year-old daughter today who looks up to me, and I have friends and family who appreciate me, and I have politicians even saying, like, I lived through you. I wish I could speak like you speak. Like, you're just so bold, and I'm trying to get that confidence. But that confidence came from being timid and letting somebody walk all over me. So my story today is I say something. I'm going to say it loud. I'm going to say it proud. It's going to be very bold. It may ruffle some feathers. It may make you uncomfortable, but I'm not going to hold things in, because even with the abused, I also suffered anxiety. My anxiety was because of what people would think of me if I said or if I showed up, if I looked a certain way. And now I simply don't care what people think. And I don't have anxiety attacks anymore because I simply say something. And it's okay if you don't agree. We can agree to disagree and go get coffee or cookies, whatever. Decided to start Say Something with Sheree in 2011. I love Oprah Winfrey, Ricky Lake, all the talk show hosts, and I always wanted to tell other people's stories. And at that time, I was hosting a lot of red carpets. I was hosting a lot of events, and of course, acting. But I found that I just got this instant gratification from hosting. I love people's reactions. I love to see them and hear them. And so I decided I wanted to do a talk show. Then after I started writing out like the theme of the talk show and the synopsis and putting it together, I then was invited to be on the talk show. It was called Table Talk back then. There was like 7 women and from all walks of life. And I loved it. I loved the experience and the conversation, everything around the table. But I no longer love to do it with them because it was some of everything, things that I didn't believe in, so I had to get out of that. And when I left that, I was like, well, I think God just gave me a taste of what I've been wanting, what I wanted. And so I started to Say Something with Sheree. I called another friend who I was acting with, and they just came along with me. I didn't even think twice about it. I just started putting people together, and this is what I want to talk about. And then I was trying to find out the name for the show. What would this show be called? And we were sitting in the huddle together, and actually one of my friends, he said, say something. I was like, huh? He was like, yeah, because one thing about Sheree, you're going to say something. And I was like, well, you got a point there. And so we went with Say Something with Sheree. I think we had another name, but we went with Say Something with Sheree because I thought it through. And I'm like, every time I'm out and I meet people, they're like, oh, your story is so inspiring. But when they tell me their story, I'm like, no, your story is inspiring. Like, you have a lot to offer. And so I begin to put that into the show. And sometimes I would get people to come up to me and say, you should do a Wendy Williams session, or you should like have a gossip session or a tea and I was like, that's not what God told me though. Like, I'm supposed to share people's story. And for years, I kind of battled with that, trying to do what was trending. And then I just finally, gave in, submitted to God. Like, no, this Say Something is for people to come and share their story and be vulnerable and be a safe place for them, because life starts when you say something. First in your mind, that's where change happens. And then when you open your mouth and speak, you begin to heal other people along with healing yourself more. But nothing happens if you never say anything. So Say Something was birthed out of that, and it has been a testimony. Memorable feedback that I have gotten from the audience. I interviewed a guy on the show who was talking about being homophobic. And I really wasn't, I felt like I should have asked different questions. I walked away from the interview and I feeling like I didn't do enough. Well, he sent me a screenshot of a conversation. There was a buddy of his traveling to Dallas, and he was getting his hair cut. So he got in the barbershop. And in the barbershop, they were playing my episode on the screen. So all the guys were talking about his episode being homophobic. And he said the conversation was so deep, and how the men were like, this is very much needed, because in that interview, he talked a lot about how his father trained him and taught him not to cry, how he got a whooping when he cried at a movie theater, and how he thought that being around gay men can make you gay, like just all of these myths. And so to hear that, or to look at the screenshot and see that somebody all the way in Dallas at a barbershop is playing my episode and having an in-depth conversation. And his response to him was to continue doing what you're doing. Thank you for sharing your story. Like, man, it was heated in that barbershop. I just was like, wow. That really, really also propelled me to say, keep going, keep doing what you're doing. Sometimes we look for reward in this form, and then God shows up way over here. And it's like, I never saw that coming. So that, to me, that was the most latest. And then the other one, I did an episode where I talked about rebirthing Say Something. And I got so many phone calls from just even friends that just said that I needed to see that episode. That was for me. And you were talking to me in that episode. I mean, cried with called me with tears in their eyes to say that thank you for being transparent and for sharing your story, because that's exactly what I'm dealing with. So those moments really just make me feel like, okay, I'm doing what I need to do. I'm being obedient, and God has his eyes on me. The most rewarding aspect of engaging with my audience, oh gosh, to hear them say, thank you for sharing this. To read a comment where someone is literally saying, thank you for sharing this. I've been battling this. I've been dealing with this. To hear them just be transparent in the post is so rewarding for me. It's a reminder to me that, yeah, you're doing the right thing. Continue to say something, because you never know who you're going to heal, who you're going to touch. If it's just one person, if it's two people, then you've done your job. And that's the most important thing. So that's rewarding to me, because even me, myself, sometimes I feel like I don't feel like showing up. I don't want to show up today. I don't want to tell somebody's story. Like, I just don't want to do it. And then when I do it, there's always a comment, or someone will pick up the phone and call me and say, hey, I watched that episode. I needed that so bad. And then it's like, you know what? Thank you, Lord, for pushing me and carrying me to say something. Girl, can I share a personal challenge? Okay, one of the personal challenges that I'm working on is procrastination, because I don't have anyone who holds me accountable. And I think it's because everybody around me is like, thinks that Cherie has it all together. And I wear many hats and I can get things done business wise. I'm the go-to person in my family to get things done. Both my immediate family and my exterior family, I'm the go-to person. So I don't think anybody feels like they need to hold me accountable. Yet I have a list of things over here that I need to do, goals and things that I want to do, and I don't get them accomplished because of procrastination. So there's two challenges I have there: procrastination and accountability. That I'm working on. And I decree and declare that by the end of this year, I will have mastered both of those to actually get some things done that I want, that have just been laying dormant. How would I describe success? You know what? I really have never been able to describe success. I used to think success meant money. I used to think that it meant material things, the nice car, the nice home, having money, vacations, and trips. And then it's kind of like, um, you used to want $1 million, and then you get it and you find out it's not all that hype. And so it's like I begin to get in those circles, and life begin to happen for me. And I realized that those are just material things. So now having the money and the finer things, it didn't make me happier. So then what is success? I personally think success is being able to do what you want to do without punishment, or without going without with lack. So to me, is really a success is being able to afford to do what you want to do. How do I define happiness? And have I found it? You know what? Yeah, I have found happiness. Um, I define happiness personally is the feeling that I have on the inside when I wake up every day. Not the things I don't have, but focusing on the things that I do have and what's going on for me. For me, that is happy. It makes me happy. It makes me happy to be able to do for other people. It makes me happy to see other people happy. So for me, uh, just being able to wake up and say, I'm still alive. I can still move my body, my limbs, I'm in my right mind. All of that makes me happy. I have found happiness because of that reason alone. I focus on the good. I focus on what's exciting. It's hard for me to be depressed. It's hard for me to be unhappy. I won't be unhappy. If I'm in an environment or a place or a season where I feel like I'm not happy, I am going to go and do what makes me happy, because I understand that depression is real. I understand that being sad also can lead to depression. When you talk about mourning, I started to write a journal about mourning because I believe in this 48-hour rule, right? Mourning the life of someone, a close family member. My brothers, both of them are deceased now, but I can't stay in the moment of grief. It bothers me so bad. So I give myself 48 hours to live in whatever it is at that moment and then come out of it. Because to me, anytime God wakes me up in the morning and breathes life into me, how can I not be happy? Why would I sit in grief or mourning anything? Because if God took it, it belongs to him anyway. That person belongs to him, or that thing or whatever it is, it belongs to God. So I always look at the good, and that makes me happy. And anytime I'm not happy, I'm going to get out of it, and that is in anything, a friendship in life. If it's not serving me or making me happy, I will get out of it. If it's marriage, I will get out of it. I have gotten out of it. If it's a job, if it's anything, I'm not one person who will just constantly show up for something that I know is not good for me and my spirit and my soul. If it doesn't make me happy, then I walk away from it. That's how I stay happy. So when it comes to handling stress or having a balance with work and life, I feel like a lot of times I'm on autopilot. I feel like I go because it has to be done. I just go. And then at the end of each day, I sit and I rethink what happened today. Could I have said something different? Did I offend somebody? Could I have taken care of myself? Did I do the things I was going to get done? Where's the accountability? So the way I handle stress is probably not the best because I'm hard on myself. I feel like there is no reason for things not to be done, even when it comes to me relaxing, sitting down, and saying no. So now, here recently, I've learned to really take time for myself. And that is not just a few moments. I actually will do a solo getaway with just myself, where I'm not a wife, I'm not a mom, I'm not a sister, I'm not a friend. I'm just myself. And if I just want to stay in bed all day, I can. If I want to read a book, if I want to go out on the pool, but I will go and do a 3-day staycation by myself and just spend time with myself and love on myself. And so the odd thing about that, though, what I learned is good stress is still stress. So while you may have all these exciting things going on in life and other things that may be happening as well that may not be so exciting, still having the excited stresses of great things is still stress. And so how to overcome it really is just finding that moment to be alone and not caring how everybody else feels. As a matter of fact, I do it without explanation. That may not be so good for my husband, but it is a matter of just at this moment shutting down and taking care of what Chere needs. Yes. I am married. And how does that play into my goals, my dreams, what I do? So I would say my husband is very supportive, very supportive. But my husband is also one who needs a lot of attention. And I think that I created that monster because I want to be the best at everything that I do. And so I feel like when I first got married, I lost myself a little bit because I was tending to the marriage and tending to him and making him feel like um, he was equivalent. I knew that I was this big, grand person and I wanted him to feel equivalent, or I wanted to get things going for him. And it wasn't too long where God said, I called you to do this. I didn't tell him to do this. So you need to get back, there. And so it's been sometimes I look at him, I laugh because this man just, whatever I say I need to do, he does it before I even get to it. So having that support has been amazing. But when he's begging for attention and I'm busy, that is not so amazing. Okay. I'm looking at him like, what do you want? So he helps me to balance or to even recognize, hey, you haven't spent time with your husband today because you're so busy, and he just jumps right in. But one of the things that we do to keep us balanced is date night. So we date. It was monthly, and I think it was like we got a kick out of it because we rotated months and we were always trying to outdo each other with the planning. And so now we bumped it up to weekly, and we that may have watered it down a little bit, actually, now that I think about it. But now we date every week. So intentionally dating my husband is what helps me keep the balance. And then of course his patience. Like, yeah, he's way better than I am. A topic or issue that I'm deeply passionate about that I wish more people cared about. So many things. I would say healing. A lot of people have a lot of things locked up in them, and it's really just a matter, if they say something. But finding a safe place to say something is the problem. And so I wish that we had more safe places for people to actually heal. There are tons of coaching and counseling and therapy. They even have it like virtual therapy now, but we still don't have that safe place because people are still walking around pretending. They're walking around in depression, suicide, and I just wish that God would give me something to help. Can't heal the world, but that's a area that I'm very passionate about, healing. Oh, one of my pet peeves. One of my pet peeves is when a person wants to ask me something or say something to me, but they don't. They come around me and they're like, I don't know, like just acting scared or timid, and it makes you come across as sneaky, and I can't stand somebody to be sneaky or trying to get over on me. So like if you want something, just say it. Like just ask me. Do not just I don't the presence of sneakiness, I get irritated real quick. Like say it. If I had to eat one food for the rest of my life, it would be cookies. Yes, I am a cookie monster. Y'all know that I'm a cookie monster. Any type of cookie, okay? I'm going to just give me a variety of cookies and I'm set for life. That's it. Cookies. What is the hardest thing for me to have to give up? Control. Yes. It is hard for me to not be in control when it comes to me. Anything that I'm involved in. Um yeah, some people don't think that's a good thing, but I think it's a marvelous thing, to remain in control. And I guess it's got a lot to do with trust. I just feel like as soon as I let somebody else do it, it's not gonna be done right. And so, yeah, it's control. What would I tell Sheree in my early stages of relocating to Georgia? I would be like, girl, do not give up that Section 8. You're gonna need it. Atlanta is expensive, honey. Okay? Take the Section 8 with you. Okay. I would tell Cherie that because listen, I got here and thought I was balling with an associate's degree, and my apartment had roaches. I had to move in with a friend and she had roaches. And we was getting $50 a week with a brand new SUV, drove it out the showroom and no way to pay for it. And now I'm up here homeless. If I had only kept that Section 8 and just transferred it to Georgia, oh, girl, child. Yeah, my truck might not have got repossessed if I had did that. But I was doing too much. I thought I was living large because I left Toledo. I don't need that Section 8. Yes, you need it, girl. Get the Section 8. Keep it. If I had a superpower, I would just really just want to know what people are thinking. in the same room with me. Like, what they thinking? And like, so that way if you lying, I would have to depend on my discernment. I would know, like, you're lying. You literally just told yourself in the head that you was going to say this. And if I said X, Y, Z, you was going to say this. So I just want to know what I want to be inside people's mind. If there were one person in heaven that I could talk to, he'll be my brother. So my older brother passed away a few years ago, 2017, and for a year, I put him in jail because he was in jail a lot. So I didn't deal with his death. And then about a year later, I had a breakdown and I finally dealt with it. But he was like my biggest supporter. He was my biggest supporter. And I feel like that because I was like, my mom, I told you, she hated him. She blamed him for my little brother's death. So he went through a lot. My older brother went through a lot for us. And so my mom put him out at an early age. So I would like sneak him back in the house so he could eat and take baths and stuff. And I would get a whooping. And he was just tossed to the streets at an early age. Initiated into a gang, did some things, but it's because he was tossed away. And I feel like I became his mom. So he praised me a lot. And when he died, I think I kind of gave up. Yeah, I think I kind of stopped living for a little bit as far as pursuing goals and stuff. And if I could talk to somebody in heaven, I would definitely talk to him. Just to remind him, or just if he never knew, like I loved him. I love him. I miss him. I can't believe that he's gone. And honestly, I did talk to him probably about a month ago. I had a dream and I talked to him and he was doing what he always said. He was like, Sheree, I'm so proud of you. Man, you got this going on. You got that. I saw you on TV. Like, he was just like, man, he was so, he was just really, 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 really happy for me. So I would love to talk to him today. That's why it's important to love on your family, your friends, whoever it is, while they can hear you. Thank you. While they can hear you say thank you, while they can hear you or see your appreciation. Because once they're gone, they're gone. And I give anything to have my brother see where I am today. But unfortunately, all I have is memories of how much he loved me. Do he know how much I loved him? I don't know.